How's it going, everybody? This is Tim from the Sideboard podcast, just checking in with you guys with a deck profile that I played in my local shop championships a couple weeks ago. We played Reboot Gohan with a twist, so let's get into it. So first, let's talk about the leader. I'm sure a lot of you know how the leader works. It's very strong on its own. It can win you the game on its own. But the problem with the leader normally is if it gets stopped, you really can't do much of anything. So his auto on attack is take 1 or 2 life and restand him. It is optional, you don't have to do that. And then his awaken is at 3 life. You untap 1 and draw 2, and flip over. Now you're Goku and Gohan. Auto on attack on this side is draw 1, and then he has an activate battle once per turn to crit a life, and he gets plus 10,000 power and triple strike for the turn, as well as an additional activate main that is once per turn. That you can restand the leader, but you lose the game at the end of the turn. Normally I do use both of those abilities on the same turn, usually turn 2 or 3. We're playing a very hyper aggressive deck, so let's get into it. So we're going to start first with Feet Kamehameha. It is a staple in every Gohan deck, but we're only playing 3 here because you really only need to see 1. It's really good. It gives you plus 15 and critical on that triple strike swing, which normally can just set you up for game. Next we have Senzu Bean. Not really much needs to be said about that. It's great for extending plays when you're playing aggro, or if you need to hold back a little bit for defense. It also gets the job done there, but with our build of the deck, it is very, very important to extend your plays on offense. Our super combo of choice, none other than Paragus. Outside of Bibbidi, it is probably still the best super combo in the game. However, for this deck, we do get a lot of draw power. Most games by turn 3 I only had 10 to 13 cards left in deck on average. A lot of it is due to this card. Absolutely important. The last card to round out our kind of traditional Reboot Gohan package is just 2 Kais. Great at applying pressure when it's not expected, even though your leader normally has triple strike. It's nice to just slap a double strike onto a battle card they're not expecting. So next we're going to get into some of the utility. We played 4 Awaken Instincts Bardock. That is our overohm for the deck. It's a free overohm. Draw 2, discard 1. Again, you just want a lot of draw power in this deck because you are trying to kill on turn 2 or 3. And as everyone knows, the combo with that card is your Beerus Godly Majesty. So you discard the Beerus off of the Bardock auto, and the Beerus plays himself. So now you have a 15k body and a 20k body for 0 energy. Next card in the deck is another free battle card. We played 3 Bell Mods. This was great because 2 of the 3 cards you need to sacrifice usually would come from the Bardock, being the Bardock itself and the Beerus. And sometimes we would have to sacrifice off another one of our cards, which we'll get to in a couple minutes because of the unique tag. So getting into the fun part of the deck, we played Agents of Destruction. And my thought process behind this was, the traditional problem that Reboot Gohan has. If I also can present a large board state and a lot of battle card attacks, that solves the problem. So most people cannot defend, a triple strike, triple attack leader and 10 to 15 battle card swings on the same turn. So the Bobbity here reduces the cost of all agents by 1 and also removes specified cost, which is extremely important because normally we charge blue, green, green, or blue, green, blue, and the game does not go past that. Along with the 4 Bobbities, of course, we play 4 Hatchiyak, which effectively gives us 8 Bobbities. We never really cast this in this deck. It is solely there as a few extra copies of Bobbity because you do need to see it turn 1. Next card is the Agent's Strike Back extra card. With the Bobbity in play, it literally becomes free because of the permanent on the card giving it Agents of Destruction. It reduces to 0 and also removes the specified cost, which is kind of insane because it turns into literally an Ancestral Recall from Magic. 0 mana, effectively draw 3 cards because you're most of the time going to hit 2 agents off the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you can take a life, which also will allow you to awaken on turn 2, which lets you go for those really absurd turn 2 kills. Next, all-star of the deck, I think all-star of all AOD decks right now, Garlic Jr. This card is absurd. So it only costs 1 because of Bobbity, and you get his in-play auto no matter what turn it is. So you can still use it as a counter attack in this deck. It's not restricted to the leader, unlike the Android 13. But most of the time, we don't really care about defense. We're just getting in there. The auto lets you play another 2-drop that is not himself. 2-drop Agent of Destruction from your deck. So Garlic Jr., if we do use it as a negate, normally we'll go for the Turles because the battle card you play has its skills negated for the turn. So Turles, when it comes back to your turn, you start getting the attack autos, which just let you search the top 5 and put another agent in your hand. Again, it's a lot of deck thinning and card drawing. The other target is Android 13. So in this deck, we're not able to use the counterplay skill because it is leader restricted. You do still get the auto though, but most of the time I was playing it off of Garlic, so it never really comes up. The auto though does let you recycle, I believe it's Agents of Destruction or Evil Wizards, from your drop into your deck. Next card in the main deck, we played 3 of the Agent of Destruction Broly's. For 2 energy, absolutely absurd. You get to kill a thing, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put any one of them into your hand. It's also a 20k body, and then also has the activate main for 1 energy that you can recycle any Agent of Destruction from your drop area back to your hand. So a lot of the times, I will pay the 1 energy, discard the Broly, and get back the extra card just if I want to, self-awaken more or, have extra card advantage in my hand if I don't really need to pay 2 to play the Broly. And last card in the main deck is our secret rare, Celzino. This secret rare is absolutely busted. I had one game where we went 3 Garlics on 1 turn, into 3 androids, if I can find them. So we did that in one turn, 3 garlics into 3 androids, which literally met Successor for Cell on its own. And with beans, you can do that and still have, 1 or 2 energy up, which is kind of nuts. This is a deck where you can absolutely Cell Xeno someone on turn 2. It is not that uncommon, it's not that difficult to do, especially with the amount of card draw in the deck. Most games you will see your secret. So let's move on to the sideboard. Wanted to have a little bit of defense, so playing 2 Protector of the People, I just think that's probably the best negate in the game right now. It's absurd against Obuni, really good against Vegex and other aggressive decks. It has it's basically a Nimbus and a Beam together, because most of the time people will just stop swinging at you, but if they don't, they have to fight through a Beam that keeps doing it on every attack. Next card, we played 3 BMS. So this was a personal call that I made in case there were other Agent of Destruction decks or Obuni, things like that. It's just a really good meta call on your sideboard right now. Next, we have our more traditional. So this is my kind of unison package of choice. I still think Demigra is just one of the best unisons in the game. The Frieza on top of it, just being able to kill something for free is absurd. And then more defense for free with the Dormant. And then our last card of the sideboard, which I should have read more carefully before submitting my deck list, was Focus Breakthrough. I wanted something to fight against Topos if they showed up, but I forgot the part about needing a multicolored energy. So we don't get to play it for free, but 1 energy to stop a Topo when we have Senzu Beans and all kinds of attacks is not the end of the world. Instead of this, I'm not too sure what I would play. There's a lot of kind of techie options, maybe like a couple Not Even a Scratch or something like that, just to be able to draw more cards. Maybe a couple Koitsekais, that was another option that I thought about after submitting my list, but let's go back to the main deck for a second and show a couple of the combos that are possible. So we showed the power of Garlic Jr. already. Let's talk about Belmont for a second. So Belmont has 4 targets that do not interfere with Successor, being these right here. So we've got the Bardock, Beerus, and then your Bobbity once you're done playing agents on your kill turn, and the Turles. So the Turles has unique, which means it should almost always be one of your Belmont targets. The Bobbity, I have gone for game 4, or gone for game with, because of the double strikes and all that, and just the sheer amount of combo power in your hand at any point in the game with this deck. Bardock as well, you cannot use for Successor. The Beerus did come up a couple of times because your Broly is also a 3-drop. So sometimes, if I had a Bardock into Beerus, I would use the 2 energy for Broly, which makes 6. If we have, 1 Garlic into an Android, that is 10, and then just play another Garlic or Android and you're at 12. either one of them. Or the other option is you can Belmont some stuff away, and that also makes 12. So you have a couple ways in the deck to get to 12. Most of the time it was even numbers. This only came up once or twice where I had a Beerus out and a couple Broly's in hand, and I figured why not try and go for it. Yeah, that's the deck, everyone. It performed really well. Like I said, most games were over on turn 2, if not turn 3. And you draw through almost your entire deck. It's kind of absurd, but it's the same thing in pretty much every card game. Card advantage is king, and I think this is the best Agents of Destruction deck in the game right now. So thanks guys for hanging out, checking out the deck profile. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, please put them in the comments below. Check out our Facebook page, all of the podcast audio apps that we go through. Check out our merch store, get some sweet merch. We've got more coming on the way. With that being said, see you guys next time.